Hi, I'm Katrina. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So currently there are only two undisputed champions in the sport of boxing today. That's Jermell Charlo, and the youngest in the whole sport is Devin Haney. Neither one of them are on ESPN's pound for pound list. Now, right after Devin Haney beat George Kambosos and became undisputed, ESPN, they put Devin Haney on their list right away. But then maybe a week or two after they put him on the list, they kicked him off the list and replaced him with Better Biev. And now they have Shakur Stevenson at number 10, and Bam Bam Rodriguez, the fighter that Shakur Stevenson put on and continuously praised. ESPN, they said after Bam Bam Rodriguez's last fight, he's closing in on the pound for pound list. So Bam Bam is only a fight or two away from replacing Shakur Stevenson on the list, on ESPN's list. And I can guarantee you guys, it's not going to matter who the opponent is that Bam Bam faces. As long as he's victorious, he will advance on ESPN's list. You guys already know what I say. The most dangerous weapon in the world is a microphone and a camera. So the reason why ESPN is so comfortable with putting out the most racist, whitewash pound for pound list is because no one, when I say no one, I'm talking about none of the professional boxers or any other extremely influential people in the boxing world is exposing ESPN. They seldomly ever expose them. And this just makes the racists even bolder. I mean, it's like someone coming to your house. They start stealing change, right? They start stealing change that's sitting around. Once they know you don't notice it's missing, they start stealing more money because they feel no one is paying attention and they keep getting away with it. But Devin Haney is paying attention, and this is what we need more people in the sport of boxing to do, because we over here at New Media, we can't do it all alone. They need to come out and expose old media when it comes to ESPN and whoever else is putting together these ridiculous, disrespectful pound for pound lists that they are desperately trying to whitewash. Matter of fact, just to show you guys how important it is for the professional boxing community to expose these racist pound for pound lists by ESPN, I wasn't even going to make a video on this and report it because I've already exposed ESPN's racial double standards in their pound for pound list for so long. But I made this video because Devin Haney responded to the list, which made it more important to report. Devin Haney, he said the youngest undisputed champ of the four-belt era and not on the pound for pound list is crazy, especially when you guys who don't even hold the Ring Magazine belt currently made the list. Everything Devin Haney said right there, it made sense. It was the whole truth. But to make the biggest impression, Devin needs to say it on a camera next time he's doing an interview with ESPN. That's the best way to really expose these double standards. Next time Devin or anyone is doing an interview with ESPN, get them to try to explain how it's possible that Devin Haney or Jermell Charlo is not on the list, but Haney is on the list and Canelo is on the list, who just came off of a loss. And that's why that microphone is such a dangerous weapon. They say the pen is mightier than the sword. The same thing can be said about the mic. Guys, ESPN has Haney, pound for pound number 2 on their list. The fact that they have Haney at number 2, that tells you without a doubt, if the two undisputed champions, Jermell Charlo and Devin Haney, were not black, they would both be 1 and 2 on the list. And honestly, they wouldn't even care. Old media wouldn't even care what their resume was. Just the fact that they are undisputed alone, that's what they would use to justify them being number 1 and number 2. I mean, the list is comical. Canelo Alvarez just came off of a loss, and they have him at number 5. But yet they once again don't even have Devin Haney and Jermell Charlo on the list. Listen, guys, A pound for pound list is supposed to be based on resume, skill, domination, and longevity. Longevity meaning how long are you going to be around? If we put you on this list, are you going to be on this list for quite some time? Terrence Crawford is a perfect example. ESPN doesn't have Terrence Crawford at number 1 because they wanted to. They were forced to put him there at number 1 because they could not justify the fact that going all the way back to Chocolatito Gonzalez, to Lomachenko, and who else? Canelo Alvarez. They always had Terrence Crawford at number 2, especially when it came to Lomachenko. Because I'm old enough to remember there was a time when Lomachenko was on the top of ESPN's pound for pound list, and they had Crawford at number 2. And there was always that debate on who really was number 1, Lomachenko or Terrence Crawford. You see, they made the mistake of putting Terrence Crawford at number 2. They didn't expect Lomachenko to lose. But when he did lose, they had no choice but to put Terrence Crawford at number 1. Logically, right? That's the way it's supposed to work. But since ESPN doesn't usually base things on logic, all of a sudden, Canelo Alvarez comes out of nowhere on the list to where people are now talking, or at least on ESPN, they're debating who's number 1 out of Canelo and Terrence Crawford, when Canelo Alvarez was never 1 or 2 on that list before Lomachenko lost. You see, when Lomachenko lost, ESPN always wanted to put Canelo Alvarez as number 1, but they knew it was hard to justify because they had already had Crawford at number 2. But eventually, they said, forget it. No one is paying attention to this. So when no one was looking, they went ahead and they put Canelo over Terrence Crawford. And shortly after they put Canelo on top of Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez loses, just like Lomachenko did. Which brings us back to my longevity point. So ESPN, every single person that ESPN put number 1 on their list, it's almost like they put a curse on that fighter because they always end up losing shortly after they call them number 1. The only fighters that don't lose, at least right away, when they're put in that number 1 spot are the black fighters. And that's because they deserve to be put there. We all know that the majority of the best black fighters in the world, they are going to outlast almost all of these non-black boxers that ESPN and the rest of old media desperately keep trying to put on their list as high as they can. They tried to replace Terrence Crawford with Chocolatito Gonzalez, with Golovkin, with Canelo Alvarez, and Terrence Crawford is still undefeated. He's still on top of the sport. There's a very, very good chance that Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson will outlast almost everyone on ESPN's Hope list. And that's what you call longevity on the pound for pound list. So at the end of the day, we need all of the professional boxing community to continue to expose what ESPN is doing right now. It's important to talk about because ESPN is the biggest sporting network in the country. Now, see, I don't talk too much about The Ring magazine because Oscar De La Hoya owns it. So that alone makes that more irrelevant because it's somewhat of a conflict of interest. But I do want to make an educational video so you guys know the history of the pound for pound list when it comes to The Ring magazine. And we've already put together our new media list. We're just working on the video right now to drop it. So that's coming real soon since all of you guys have been asking for that. I'll close out with this final point. You guys really need to pay attention to what's going on. Paulie Malinaggi, he got fired for being racist, for saying racist things. Showtime, they fired him. And one of the things that he said, and this was just the tip of the iceberg, he said it's no longer the black boxer's time in the sport of boxing. Now the sport is dominated by white European fighters. Now, once Paulie came out of the closet, he said much more racist things about black people than that. But my point is, clearly the racist views that Paulie had towards black boxers, ESPN and the rest of old media, they felt the same way because ever since Paulie said that, ESPN, they have tried their best to keep their pound for pound list looking the way Paulie always envisioned it to look. This is the reason why they desperately try to fill their list up with the majority of white European fighters and non-black boxers. You see, clearly they wouldn't dare repeat what Paulie Malinaggi said, but they share the same vision. Their dream is boxing will be the white version of the NBA. And that ain't gonna never happen, no matter how many anti-black pound for pound lists they put up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.